I was listening to this YouTuber who I really admire explaining about YouTube. And one of the things he said, which hit home, was not to get too attached to strangers' comments or strangers' behavior towards you. And then all of a sudden I got this message. It's like, well, people are not reacting. You are not reacting to the stranger's comment, right? Because it's so easy to say, well, ignore the stranger's comment, ignore what they're saying to you. This is just a stranger. What actually is happening, my love, is the fact that it's triggering within you a memory or a way in which you had been spoken to, or that a thing that you believe about yourself to be true. Making sense? So, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi. If you've been here already, welcome. It's lovely having you. So when I'm talking about this, the reason I felt so deeply is because I do remember very clearly on another channel where me and my previous work partner were together, I received a few like lovely comments, but there was a few here and there that were such hateful, mean, cruel comments, and it hurt so much that I was like, I don't want to ever do this again. Why do I, share these gifts with others? And I went through the spiral of doom, ignoring the hundreds of fabulous comments and honing into the 3 or 4 that really hurt. And so I was reminded today, I'm like, ooh, because these are shadow. These are aspects within me that actually exist within me, and I believe them to be true. Meaning, I might be believing that these things are real about me. And so as I decluttered and worked through it and released and came to terms with it, I realized another time I received a message, a thing, it didn't hurt. It didn't even matter. There was no attachment to it. There was such an indifference, and I easily deleted it. Not that I didn't delete the others, I did. So when I heard this today, I was like, oh, when a stranger, whether you do have a YouTube, whether you're just working on something, whether it's a colleague at work, whether it's a stranger on the streets, which has happened a few times to me, and I'm sure has happened to you, decide to be mean or cruel or say something that makes you feel hurt, go inwards and figure out what that trigger was. What caused so much pain for you? What do you believe about what this person said about you to be true between you and you? What is true about it between you and you? Is there a similar language you speak with yourself? Were you in denial of an emotion you were having and sugarcoating it, where now the outside world is doing it to you for you to look at it so that you can pay attention to it, love it, and then release it? So this is a really good way for self-reflection, because sometimes we all have blind spots, so many blind spots, and this is my expertise. I've done this for over 18 years, and I've actually been on the spiritual path and journey and certified left, right, and center, and come from a lineage of healers. This is my lineage from my mother's side, a lineage of healers and psychics and intuitives and mediums. I mean, this is just my build, and then I built upon it and certified myself in everything known to man. And so I am able to see a lot within myself, and yet I have my blind spots. And so I have a friend or two that I turn to help me see those blind spots, that are also as intuitive and have incredible gifts, right? And that I trust, I completely trust, and that they see my light as I see their light. But at the end of the day, seeing your blind spots will free you. It gives you a sense of, it's very painful. It really hurts. You start to doubt yourself. You start to say, oh my God. Like, if you really pay attention, you might notice that within you, you're feeling that other people see that too. Like, then it must be true about myself. But it isn't. It isn't true about who you are. It's a false identity. It's a false truth, like I call it in my book, Discover the Gifts of Your Disempowered Self. It's a disempowered version of you believing a false truth. What does that mean? That there's a version of you that's feeling less of itself, that has believed the lies in which it has been told, and is now believing it as a truth, which I like to call a false truth, right? So it's a false truth that you're believing. So when strangers do come and say something awful to you, I remember a week ago, I was coming out of a parking spot, and instead of turning left, I turned right, and this man came, and he was so angry, super angry. He opened his window. He was old and grumpy and mean, and he's like, "You're an idiot! You're an idiot!" And I just opened my window, and I'm like, "You're an idiot too. You know, you're an idiot for speaking this way." And I didn't have to take the high ground and be like, "Oh, I'm love and peace." I wasn't triggered, but because I wasn't triggered by him, because I had worked through that with me, because I wasn't triggered by him, I had the freedom to answer back the way I want to, not through like, how dare he, blah, 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 out of, hey, you're calling me an idiot, I'm calling you an idiot, right? And there was no fear. It wasn't fear-based. And this is the freedom of working through your stuff between you and you, where fear isn't the reason that shames you for what you've done that is not wrong, but maybe wrong in somebody else's perspective, or you did it wrong, but you didn't know, right? You're not shamed out of it. You don't feel guilty, and rage doesn't erupt in you. So you're not working through fear. You're working from a place of, I have a right to voice my opinion. I have a right to call him what I feel like calling him right now. You're not going to swear at him badly, but if he's going to call you an idiot, you can. And you feel very empowered because you don't carry it with you. You don't drive back home carrying that thing with you and being like, "Oh my God, oh, that," and taking it on the whole day. And if you are taking it on the whole day, that's still very okay, my love. You can take it on the whole day. You can. Because within that is a gift and a freedom where you get to understand, why did I take that on all day? What does it truly mean to me? Do I believe that to be true? Or do I not? And really answer the question honestly with yourself. It's just with yourself. I know sometimes it's very shameful to even be honest with our own selves, but to be so clear and honest with self frees you. It frees you because as much as it hurts to be honest with yourself and be like, I don't feel worthy, I have no worth, I gaslighted myself, I've deceived myself, and you're going through the pain of it. Allow the pain to be there, because it wants to be seen and heard by you and wants to be released by you. It wants the freedom of expression with you, because once it is seen by you, it is consciously awakened by you and has the freedom to speak and share its pain. It floats out into the light and it's not hidden anymore. And it's easy to work with something that is clear, that is right in front of you. So, I'll give you an example. This is an important example. I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh, bless my soul. Okay. Ooh. So, this is an example that I just received. And the example disappeared with the sneeze. Wait a minute. Okay. So, I'm going to pause and feel. Okay, I remembered. So for example, if you are highly intuitive, and you don't even have to be highly intuitive, but tuned into yourself, and you're sitting with a friend or a stranger or another human being, and they're being dishonest with themselves about something, and they're sharing this thing with you, but you can feel that it's not real, that it's dishonest, that there's something else there, right? And you're trying to decipher, like, is it real? Is it not? Am I hallucinating? Am I making it up? And that's this, and then you kind of like, you believe the lie, right? And you continue with this friendship, but then you're like, it's just, I can't seem to trust anything that this person really says, because I feel something else. I feel something else. They're sugarcoating all the stuff. It's the same thing when you do it with your inner child, with your inner self, with the disempowered version of you, which is a pocket of energy within you, right? You're sugarcoating what it's feeling, and you're not giving it permission to be seen, right? You're doing what that friend is doing, but you're feeling that there's something else in there. You're feeling it in your body that there's something else in there, but maybe that person is too afraid to take a look at it or doesn't want to sit with it. The same thing with you. You're too afraid to look at it or even sit with it. But then when you finally sit with it, or you finally confront that friend and be like, look, I'm feeling that this is off. This isn't the truth. There's something strange about what you're saying. It doesn't align. You know, I am listening to I'm here to hear the truth. And the friend shares it, and it could be shocking as hell for you. Or it could be just like, oh, but at least it's truth. And when it's truth, you're able to actually work with what it is. You can say, you know what? This kind of friendship doesn't work for me. Like, you become the person in charge of whether you want to keep this person in your life or not. Because there's clarity. Clarity is so important. Honesty is so important. And we're not always so clear about what we honestly know. However, when you are honest with your inner self, when you have that honesty with yourself, what happens is you can now choose to keep that or to release it. You could be like, oh, I feel unworthy. That was so honest of me to me. And why I feel unworthy, blah, 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 blah. Great. It's okay. I can have myself feel unworthy. I'm choosing to continue feeling unworthy, but I'm conscious of it. I'm conscious of it. It's not in the dark anymore. I'm honest with myself about it, and I'm choosing to keep it because it is of service to me now. And oh my God, feeling unworthy has so many services for you. Your disempowered version has incredible gifts. Honestly, just my book, Discover the Gifts of Your Disempowered Self. You could get it off of Amazon. I'm putting it on my website also, but it is worth the read. It was channeled through me. It was absolutely incredible. Within 2 weeks, I had written the whole thing, and then it took me another month I had so many images float into my mind, because I see images and I hear words, and then I had to do images for it, because that's how I work. And that's a beautiful book. It'll really get you to discover your disempowered self, fall in love with it, and the gifts within that. So falling in love with you, it takes time. But the way to fall in love with you is to fall in love with the aspects of you that you have deemed yuck, and maybe others have deemed yuck. So going back, having others comment, say something, is a great way to self-reflect and see what part of you, what pocket of energy within you speaks to you that way and believes that to be true. Now, if this is resonating, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, of course. I'd love to hear your feedback, your perspective. How did you feel listening to this? You know, what clicked for you? What triggered for you? Yeah. And of course, I've opened an extra day for one-on-one sessions. So you can if you want to go deeper into all this in a more personal way, feel free to reach out. My information is in the description below. Reach out and we'll dive deeper in a session together, or a few sessions, which are usually a lot better and go a lot deeper and paradigm shifts. It's just miraculous. Anyway, I love you all so deeply. Let me know how this resonates, and let me know what kind of comments or things people did that really hurt you, that you feel that you've grown from, or has helped you release certain pockets of energies that were trapped inside of your body. All right, see ya. Love you. Bye.